Now for the event of the day. We would now have a talk by Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon on the topic Military Leadership and Ethos with respect to students and its relevance in the civil society. For all present here, we have a brief questionnaire. Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon comes with us, and it is not possible we do not bombard him with questions. You mention about choosing an aim and pursuing it persistently for the students. We too tell them the same thing. The aim should not be given up easily. जुस्तजू चलती रहनी चाहिए, हर दुआ के सर होने का वक्त मुकर्रर होता है. जब आप हार जाते हो तो शायद उसका वक्त नहीं है. That doesn't mean that you stop trying. So the most important lessons that I felt, and why I'm repeating it here, they should be written on your heart. Naam, namak and nishan. The biggest takeaway for today. And imandari, wafadari and zimmedari. I think if we can lead life with these two principles, we can definitely achieve whatever we dream for.
In the army, we have to motivate that man to lay down his life for the nation. So, our human resource management, human resource observation is very good. And what I saw on the stage today, the young boys and girls performing, the smiles on their face and their heart in that act, I think you are bang on. Right?
Thank you so much, sir. It is not necessary for one to sacrifice his life for the country, but rather to let the enemy sacrifice the life for his country. You have written that in your book. How do we translate it to the civilian life?
Yes, this line is from my book, and this line in some form was originally also spoken by General Patton of US Army. The line says, it's not a must to die for your country. It is for you to kill the other person to die for his country so that you win a war for your country. So,
that's good.
So in the civil life, in your life, you don't have to, faint or you don't have to get sick studying. आपको अपनी किताब को खा जाना है. किताब ने आपको नहीं खाना. Don't get overburdened by studies. If you feel this is the level, if you burn your candle at both ends, what happens? At some stage you will fall short of wax. You got to keep the candle burning at one end and wait for the right opportunity for you to shine brighter. So please never take it that today is my last battle. Kill that battle or kill that opponent or kill that competition so that you succeed. The competition may be in terms of exam today, some job tomorrow, some deadlines to be met, some parameters to be met. So kill those and don't kill yourself trying to achieve that.
From what I gather, you give more importance to the attitude rather than to the degrees. So that will go for every civilian wherever he is placed in life, that your attitude in the situation has to be a winning attitude. What are you giving? Are you giving it your 100%? So another thing that intrigues me is that the army is the biggest amalgamation of human resource. How come it is able to still operate as a single unit with oneness of passion?
A very good question. I mean, partially I answered it in that Naam Namak Nishan. When I fight for my unit, don't fight for a religion, don't fight for a caste, don't fight for a village, you don't fight for a state. When you fight for your unit, in turn I am fighting for the army, in turn I am fighting for the nation. So the amalgamation, what acts we saw today, did compete with him and say, "ठीक है, ये पीछे रह गया, अच्छी बात है." Carry him forward. आज एक एग्जाम है, उसमें 2 नंबर से पीछे रह गया तो you're feeling nice about it. But this will not help you in the long run. जिंदगी बहुत लंबी है. Like ma'am said, जो सर करते हैं, सर means those who win. Ultimately, they are the winners because they have a winning mindset. A winning mindset will not fall to the level or stoop to the level where he or she feels very happy when someone else is not performing well. Winners are for life, winners are not for events. So be a winner for life.
A small confusion here, sir. Army says 100% compliance. You talk about 100% trust in the commander, the weapon and the body, which is a way of total submission and no questions asked. That is how the army operates. In a democratic society that we live in, is it all about asking, it is all about asking questions and putting forth your opinion. Do you think the success and glamour of the military operations is because of no questions asked?
Actually, it might surprise you when I say army by nature is the most democratic, most secular, most inclusive. What we do is, when we are planning an operation, everyone speaks his heart out. Everyone gives the right input. It may or may not be liked by the senior. When all the inputs are given, I also give my input. I give it in the most, you can say, positive manner, most strong manner, but with all the humility, all the respect. Once all the inputs are given, decision is discussed, then one decision is taken. Because if a feature or a peak has to be captured, you can attack from one side. I may be thinking I will attack from the left, but once finally decision is taken, we attack from the right, then I am part of the decision, then there are no questions asked. I have given my inputs before the decision was taken. Once the decision is taken, then I will not say, "Arey yaar, main to left se jana chahta tha, right se chila diya, abhi to main nahi jaunga." Then if you don't go, the point which I said about the body, zimmedari. If I am not 100%, my body might die, I might die. So we have a democracy before the decision is taken. Once the decision is taken, then it is leadership and aim. Nishchay kar apni jeet ko. Because the person who has taken a decision, he probably has all the inputs. So we do give our opinions. And then once we come back after operation, we have something called after action report. In that again we all give our opinions. What went wrong, what could have been better, done in a better manner. So the next time when we go for an operation, it's better planned. So we have a democracy before and after. But not during the operation, because that time एक ही है मैं मछली की आंख जो अर्जुन के सामने थी. That is दुश्मन. So there is no democracy.
So that was brilliant, and the flashes of the army life and your experiences that we just had. How can we as civilians be of support to the army?
Wonderful. Everyone salutes on 15th August, 26th January when you have casualties. My one-liner to this is, every soldier comes from the society, every soldier is as good as society he or she comes from. I have civilian family, I have a civilian parents, I have civilian children, wife, brother, sister. So we are part of the society. But as a civilian, one thing you can do, because for you a soldier is dying on the border. One thing which you can do is be an Indian worth dying for.
Brilliant.
I should feel proud to die for you. No, आपके लिए मरने का दिल करना चाहिए ना. Be that Indian. Small things, obey traffic rules. छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं. Just be a good Indian. What is being taught in the class, follow it through. So that's what keeps the army going.
That was absolutely brilliant, sir. What we feel, there are a couple of questions on the same lines. This is that when Pulwama happened, you were posted there just 4 days before. What was your first reaction and how do you deal with it in an absolutely new place? Another related question is that your experience in Kashmir that happened on the heaven on earth in the 90s of the Kashmiri massacre to the abrogation and A35.
Both these points I have covered in great detail in my book, but to the point which ma'am asked first question as to what was your reaction when Pulwama happened. I had taken over as Corps Commander in Kashmir. Corps Commander means the whole line of control in Kashmir Valley, complete area opposite line of control in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. This side and complete Kashmir Valley military operations were under my command. So I take over Corps Commander on 10th of February, 14th February Pulwama happens. And this book, कितने गाजी आए, कितने गाजी गए, within 100 hours, we had killed all the people who had carried out Pulwama. So, that is when this phrase came, I talk about it after. What was my first reaction? Again, aim. Selection of aim. Immediately after the news became little clear, we were traveling for a meeting where everyone else was also there, all the security forces, civil administration, intelligence agencies, DGP, Chief Secretary, this, Governor. I was traveling, and with me was traveling my ADC, we have an ADC with you in the army, one young captain, Sandeep Singh. So Sandeep Singh was also listening to the news, and he was also keeping himself abreast as to what's happening. So he was also anxious. So when we are traveling, I am thinking something in my mind how to go, but so he asked me, sir, ab kya hoga? And that selection of aim. He said, sir, ab kya hoga? So pardon my language. I said, we will get the bastards. And we got them within 100 hours. That selection of aim, we will get the bastards, is 3 words. And rest everything was mechanics to reach that end stage. Now talking about 1989-88 Exodus or Palayan or genocide, call it by whatever name, of Kashmiri Pandits, to abrogation of Article 370. Lot has happened in Kashmir. Lot has happened in Kashmir, from schools not opening for a single day in the whole year, to schools now opening every day, to 100 flights landing in Srinagar airport with 100% occupancy today. All the hotels in Kashmir are 100% occupancy today. The tourists are at record high today. Terrorist incidents are the lowest in the history of terrorism. The young boys joining terrorism is the lowest in the history. That people getting killed by terrorist actions are the lowest in the history. So there is a lot happening. Kashmir ने बहुत देखा है, बहुत सहा भी है. I think now economics will drive. Good economics or good earnings will drive the peace in Kashmir. And now I think it's irreversible, but it's a consolidation phase. It is going to take time. Consolidation phase is the most difficult phase. When it's at peak, chopping off the head is not difficult. It's the ground level grass manuring or mowing which is difficult. So that's happening.
In your estimate, how much time will it take?
एक शेर है, लम्हों ने खता की, सदियों ने सजा पाई. So that sadi is you can जितने आप इसको मेजर कर लीजिए, हो सकता है वो कुछ महीनों की बात हो, कुछ सालों की बात हो, but peace is bound to return.
So peace is bound to return. In its wake, it will bring so many different things. So we talked about Pulwama, we talked about Balakot, we talked about abrogation. Those were basically military operations. You come across as a very humane person with an emotional angle to your personality. You have undertaken operations Ma and Hamsaya very successfully. What would you attribute the success of these operations to, with reference to India being primarily a patriarchal society?
Thank you, ma'am. Very relevant question, and by the way, this question has been asked to me for the first time. And Operation Ma was an operation in which I started that initiative, because since captain days, I have been operating in Kashmir on a number of tenures as a captain, as a major, lieutenant colonel, full colonel, brigadier, and then general. One thing which I noticed in 88, 89 and 90s, every time we killed a local terrorist, those days were the days of no mobiles and other things. Every time a local terrorist was killed, from his pocket we used to recover a letter written to his mother, or a letter received from his mother. And the letters always read, Ami Jan ko salam, that hardly a mention of father. And then, because as a young officer, I used to move around, meet people, meet Kashmiri families. I realized in Kashmiri society, the role of mother is very important. It's important in every society. Every household, बाहर बिशक नेम प्लेट बाप की लगी है, लेकिन घर के अंदर चलती माँ की है. So that way, mother's role is very important in any society, so I picked up on this. And second point was the assurance and the faith which the mothers will have in me. So we started something called Operation Ma, wherein I said mothers will request their children who have joined terrorism to return. I don't use the word surrender. I said you tell them to return, and I assure you, firstly there will be no fake encounter or whatever your apprehensions. There will be no police case, and their identity will be kept secret. And lastly, they will be given an alternate job or opportunity based on their qualifications. I lived up to all four of these promises in each and every case. And that is what made this operation successful. More than 50 boys returned in that 1 year. Some of them are in Amritsar also. They are now all working. कोई कहीं पे कुछ काम कर रहा है, कोई कहीं पे कर रहा है. Otherwise, they would have died a natural death in an encounter somewhere or other. So that was, because the faith has to be there. The gentleman is making a promise, will he keep it? We have stopped encounter halfway through. Encounter चल रहा है, बंद करवाया है, मोबाइल मंगवाया है, माँ से बच्चे की बात करवाई है. वो बच्चे का चार्ज खत्म हो गया, रिचार्ज whatever it's called, जो अंदर फंसा हुआ है एनकाउंटर में. We paid for his recharge so that he can talk and save his life. Mother is a mother. चाहे वो टेररिस्ट की मदर है, चाहे वो किसी की भी मदर है. No one talks about a terrorist mother in Kashmir. Why she lost her son? She lost her son because terrorism came to Kashmir. All those people who are, talking against India, they will never talk about the young boys who have died in Kashmir. कि उनकी माँ का क्या हाल है. What's her fault? Why she lost her son? She lost her son because these people brought in the terrorism. ये इनको सूट नहीं करता उसके बारे में बात करना. So they will not talk about her. So Operation Ma became famous or became successful because I was emotionally and honestly involved in it. Then was Operation Hamsaya Hai Hum. Hamsaya Hai Hum is because Kashmir is a very difficult area. People stay on the mountain reaches, जहाँ पे ना कोई स्कूल है, ना कोई पढ़ाने वाला है, और उनके बच्चे जो हैं, खास करके नोमैड्स, बकरवाल्स, उनके बच्चे फिर पढ़ते नहीं हैं. तो since army is there on the line of control and in the hilly areas, what we do is parents जो है वो अपनी गाय बकरी चलाते हैं, भेड़ू चलाते हैं. We run classes for them, उनके बच्चों के लिए. हमारे जवान जो 12वीं पास है, हमारे एक मास्टर जी भी होते हैं, एजुकेशन कोर है, तो we run classes for their children. We give them the medical aid. रात को कोई भी लेडी प्रेग्नेंट है, लेबर पेन्स होती हैं, the first thing they do is come to the army post. So concept was हम साया हैं हम. We live together in these difficult areas. We must help each other. इसके ऊपर Prime Minister Mr. Modi has also tweeted one of our operation where we were carrying a pregnant lady on our shoulders on a cot in 20 feet of snow. We carried her for 4 hours to the hospital. So, these are the actions which bring in that faith of the public. Yes, these people are doing a duty, that's a separate issue, but at the end of the day, they are human. So these operations were very successful. There's some others also, like we are talking to a school crowd. In Kashmir, we run 28 army public schools. That means army runs these schools. The teachers are all Kashmiris, the students are all Kashmiri. In the era when, like I said, 280 दिन स्कूल बंद रहते थे हड़ताल के कारण, army public schools used to run non-stop. And in 30 years of history of Kashmir terrorism, not a single student of army public school has joined terrorism.
Commendable. Absolutely commendable.
That is what a good teacher, a good school can do to the future life of a student. A lot to take from this statement.
चाहत सच्ची हो तो क्या नहीं हो सकता, ये आसमां तेरे कदमों में झुक क्यों नहीं सकता. Your चाहत, your passion, your dedication, absolutely brilliant, sir. The next question here is, you talk of students, you talk of schools. Time and again history has proved that to destroy any society we need to first finish off its education system. You mentioned that education system of Kashmir crumbled after the Kashmiri Pandits moved out. what is it that any society can mandate in schools to strengthen the education system for its growth, and the concept of army schools you already said?
What happened in Kashmir was, in 1988-89, we were newly married, my wife was also there with me, I was young captain, North Kashmir. Those days the schools in the villages were made of wood. So when the terrorism started, first thing the terrorists did was they burned down all the schools, on the pretext that army comes and stays in them. कि आर्मी इसमें पोस्ट बनाती है तो आर्मी कैंप बनाती है, आर्मी के लिए अवेलेबल नहीं रहेंगे. Second thing which happened was the Kashmiri Pandits left the valley. As most of you would be aware, Kashmiri Pandits were basically connected with the education system. They were primary school teachers, higher secondary school teachers, college professors. So when Kashmiri Pandits left and the schools were burned down, the education crumbled. Now this was done in a very systematic manner. When the education crumbled, they had to fall back on the alternate means of education, and that is where the radicalization started. That is where, in the name of religion, in the name of some wrong information, young minds were radicalized. And when the schools started opening again, then came the Hartali Daur, as I call it. When Hurriyat or Gilani will give a call, Kal Hartal rahegi. The schools will not open. Teachers won't come, students won't come. And what happened is, like I said, 280 days in a year, the schools are not opening. At the end of the year, the whole class en masse used to be promoted to the next class. That was all fine, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. When they came to 11th and 12th class, they had done their 12th class without even knowing the basics of maths, physics, chemistry or anything. When they had to compete for competitive exams or entry into engineering colleges, medical colleges or civil services, they were no match. When at the age of 17, 18, 20, he could not qualify to get admission in a good college, what does he do? He was partially radicalized, he is not getting a good education, he is not getting a good admission. Only option left was he picks up a gun. So this is how the Kashmiri society was, crumbled. The education got the first hit and the worst hit. And to bring back any education, any society, we need to make sure the education is there. The boy or the girl should be able to make out what is right, what is wrong. If he or she is not educated, I talked about qualification and education. If he or she is not educated enough to understand the difference between good and bad, then that society is bound to be doomed. For good of any future society, education is the key and education is the base. And I'm so happy to be here today talking to the people who are involved with this nation building, as they call it. You're not teaching students, you're building a nation. We are a nation which is 1/5 of the world. दुनिया का 20% human resource है. Your contribution will go a long way. Thank you.
So it's not about completing the syllabus, it is more about character building and attitude developing. That should be mandated in school. I've received a couple of questions from different quarters pertaining to the children. In modern age, the civilian society and particularly the youth is of the mindset that what am I getting out of it? It is largely felt that loyalty, compassion, sacrifice is on a decline. Army is all about selfless giving up of life for the country. How does that transition happen? Second part of it is how to use the social media judiciously by the youth.
Thank you. Second part I partially answered. Social media must be used constructively. There is a lot of good things on the social media. There is a lot of education. There is a lot of knowledge. So much so, like my email ID is there on my Twitter bio, my Insta bio, my Facebook bio. A lot of students send me an email, I reply to each and every one of them. And one student one day sent me an email, he says, sir, I am doing something in coding. So I don't have much idea about coding, but I know something to do with the programming. He says, we are a student, 6 students, a group of 6 students, and we were working out a problem given by a professor. He said, then one of us said that, okay, why don't we put it in the chat GPT? He said, we put that problem in the chat GPT, within 1 minute we got the answer. And now his problem was the fear, apprehension. He said, sir, अगर chat GPT में solution मिल रहा है तो मेरे को कोई क्यों employ करेगा for doing this coding? Why would some company employ me if they are getting this from the chat GPT? The question is, इसमें मेरे लिए क्या है? The point I am trying to make is, you have to make sure you contribute to the society. What you get in return is always there. Like I am sitting here today. When I started my career, my basic pay was 750 rupees. And 350 rupees used to be the mess bill. When my wife joined me after marriage, I think my pay was 1800 rupees. Even today I am staying in a rented house. I have never bought a first-hand car in my entire career. I bought the first-hand by taking a loan after retirement. But that doesn't mean that I didn't get anything. I'm quite happy. I wouldn't have been sitting here if I had not got anything. The people who are running around in new cars, I'm not sure you are not going to invite them to come here. वही है, हर किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, किसी को
कहीं ज़मीन तो कहीं आसमान नहीं मिलता. How can you become an army officer? What is the route to it?
Thank you. There is a website called joinindianarmy.org.in. It's an official website of Ministry of Defence. Go to the website. There are various options for you to join Indian Army as an officer. Various options. You can join through NDA, that is after 12th. You can join through CDS, that is after your graduation. You can join under technical engineering scheme, that is TEC, if you have done your BTech. So there are various entries, as we call it, which are there. And basically, what most of us as students feel, that to join the army, I have to be physical fit, I have to speak very good English, I have to have a very good body posture. No, sir. That is the end product which you are saying. When you see a young captain who is smart, who is wearing very nice uniform, brassy stars, chiseled body, nice haircut, well shaven. Now if you think I am not like him, so मैं तो जा ही नहीं सकता. वो भी एक दिन आपके जैसे था. I also did not know how to speak proper English. I also come from a background where I could say, okay, I came from a school which was not an English medium school. I came from a background where I was staying with my grandmother. She could not read or write. She could not help me in my homework at home. So with all those limitations, I joined the army, and after that, whatever army has done to me is what is there in front of you. So never feel कि मेरी English ठीक नहीं है तो मैं फौज में नहीं जा सकता, मेरी body ठीक नहीं है, जब मेरा weight ठीक नहीं है तो मैं फौज में नहीं जा सकता, या मेरा ये नहीं है, वो सब कुछ फौज अपने आप करवा लेगी. Fauj will make sure you lose the extra weight. Fauj will make sure you start speaking good English. Fauj will make sure you get the mannerism. Fauj will make sure you get the respect which we give, like members of humility and all. All those things Fauj will bring in. What Fauj cannot bring in is that honesty and integrity. That is the only thing which we need. And that is the only thing which is tested in SSB. SSB, there was a student next to me, the aspirant, when we had a group discussion, and this boy said, Shriman, मेरे को English नहीं आती है, तो क्या मैं अपने आप को हिंदी में व्यक्त कर सकता हूँ? That instructor said, please go ahead. And he gave his point of view in Hindi. Because language can be learnt, mind can't be changed. He gave damn good logic, and he retired as a Major General from the Indian Army. So please don't feel you come from a background which is not privileged. You come from a background where your language is a handicap. You come from a background where your economical well-being is not good enough. All that doesn't matter. What matters is you should be honest, you should have the integrity, and you should be able to stand up for what you think is right. Baki sab kuch करवा देंगे, baki there is no problem.
What initially inspired you to join the army?
So I started my schooling here, and as in Punjab, the fervor for the Fauj and fervor for the fighting for the nation is always there. even today I think when I introduce myself as a retired army officer, I get the best of treatment. By the shopkeepers, by the officials, they have that respect for you. So that feeling was one thing, this is honorable profession. And then my two Mamajis, elder Mamaji was in army for 5 years under emergency commission. So I saw him wearing uniform. Younger Mamaji retired as DIG from BSF. So since I stayed with my Naniji and with my Mamajis, so wearing of uniform every day was a routine in the house. So that inspired. And I must tell you one very interesting aspect. I would have not been sitting here today. There was a student in my class, Harsh Jang Bahadur, we are still in touch. And his elder four brothers were ex-NDA. They had joined NDA. And he very badly wanted to join NDA. उन दिनों में online application नहीं होती थी. So he went to recruiting office, brought forms for the whole class. He filled up the forms for the whole class for NDA. Then we went to give exams in Patiala and then we forgot about it. One day I was traveling in a bus, I picked up a newspaper from the person sitting next to me, and in that newspaper it was written NDA result inside. So I asked him to give me page number 4 or 6 or whatever, and I saw my name there. Once I saw my name there, that is when I went to SSB. So destiny decides. I had no idea of NDA. Harshchand Bahadur made me fill the application form, and this gentleman was the first one to congratulate me on being a future Fauji. So I don't even know who he was, where he is.
Sir, on a serious note, this will be the last question. We have a few lighter ones ahead. Sir, in your opinion, what is the status of Modi ji's Made in India project?
See, Made in India, or any nation to be self-reliant, is the most important thing. A nation is like a boy or a girl born. जो हमारे वीर सेनानी freedom fighters ने किया, that was when we were conceived as an independent India. We are a nation of 5,000 years history. But our independent India's conception happened when our freedom fighters were fighting against the British rule. Then the nation was born. जब बच्चा पैदा होता है फिर 2 साल 4 साल 8 साल तक उसको थोड़ा संभाल के रखना पड़ता है. ठंड से माँ भी बचाती है, घर वाले बचाते हैं. धीरे धीरे बच्चा 20, 22, 25 का होता है, इंडिपेंडेंट होता है. Then वो कोई जॉब करता है, फिर वो जॉब में एक्सेल करता है. So nation's growth is also like this. On day one, a nation cannot start earning. Or a boy can't start earning, or a girl can't start earning. So everything happens over the years and everyone contributes. The parents contribute, the teachers contribute, the friends contribute, the environment contributes, the failures contribute, the successes contribute. But having been in the army and dependent on Indian manufactured weapons is the most important thing, because no nation will give you weapons when you go for a war. Then they will ask for their pound of flesh. When we were having Kargil, when we were in 1971, Russians brought in their armada, that is the naval fleet. Russians came and brought their ships inside and stood there. So during wartime, very few nations will stand by you. But if you have your own capabilities, you don't have to depend on others. So I think Make in India is a great initiative. A lot of teething problems. That's true for any new initiative. But as a concept, I think earlier we start depending on ourselves to establish the plans. So I think great initiative, and in future this will hold very well for the nation, for any nation. Self-dependence, self-reliance is most important, and as a policy, I think it should be followed through.
So towards the end, we have a few one-liners. What one important lesson you have for the children?
Never give up.
We all evolve.
To say it again, never ever give up.
We all evolve over the years. Any habit of yours that you had to change or give up?
My wife is sitting here, difficult to say. she tells me 20 things in a day which I have to change. So I think she will be the right person to say that कौन से वाले सबसे ज़्यादा important है.
I think that is an unending struggle. What is your idea of happiness or bliss?
If you get a peaceful sleep at night, and when you wake up, if you have no grudge or if you have no feeling of, grudge against anyone, I think you're the happiest person. अच्छे से सोचो. What happens is you are cursing yourself. You are hurting yourself. You are emotionally, torturing yourself. वो तो बोल के चला गया जिसने जाना था. Now your happiness is being hampered. So just give up on few people, few things, few statements. You will be a very happy person.
Brilliant. Your remote control should be in your own hands.
ये नहीं हो सकता.
After a low phase, how do you re-motivate yourself? Let's देखते हो आप अपने आसपास.
Yes. Actually speaking, someone asked me a question after Pulwama. And when we killed these people, so this कितने गाजी आए, कितने गाजी गए in that press conference. What happened is 14th February Pulwama happened. By 18th February evening, we had killed the people who had done it. And 19th February morning, there was a press conference. And the press conference was telecast live. And the person who was mastermind of Pulwama, his code name was Ghazi. His actual name was Kamran, he was a Pakistani terrorist. His code name was Ghazi, and Ghazi is a very preferred code name by the terrorists. And since my childhood days, captain days, we had killed so many terrorists whose code name was Ghazi. And many of them were killed earlier. So someone asked me a question, क्योंकि पिछले 4 दिन से चल रहा था, Ghazi has attacked, Ghazi, Pulwama. So a journalist asked me a question, said, is Ghazi dead? So my point was, I didn't want to give credence to this terrorist and much importance to him. I said, कितने Ghazi आए, कितने Ghazi गए, परवाह नहीं. So that line, कितने Ghazi आए, कितने Ghazi गए, became my tagline for the nation. And that line is the title of my book. And point about how do you overcome situations, how do you overcome when you see something. And in the press conference, someone asked me a question. Sir, have you avenged or have you taken revenge? So my reply was, in army we don't believe in the thing like avenge or revenge. We become more resolute. हम और भी अपने आप को मजबूत कर लेते हैं कि अभी इस काम को पूरा करना है. Failure will make me more resolute. Failure will make me more strong. If failure makes me weak, then my team will also suffer, my Jawans will also suffer, my family will also suffer. A failure should give you more strength. Failure should give you more empowering, enabling capabilities. Failure should never be taken as a hindrance. Failure is a lesson. Failure is just a stepping stone for success. Failures will happen. Don't think failures नहीं होंगे. Failures नहीं होंगे, then you are living in a perfect world. There is nothing called perfect world. Failures will happen. आपकी दाल बनाते हुए वो लग जाएगी नीचे. कोई परवाह नहीं है. थोड़ा दही वही डाल के उसको कर लो, बोलो आज ये वाली बनाइए.
General Dhillon comes across as a movie buff. One favorite song or poetry lines?
One beautiful song. तुम इतना जो मुस्कुरा रहे हो, क्या गम है जो छुपा रहे हो.
Brilliant. So your hobbies?
Hobbies, I played a lot of golf. I love sitting with friends, discussing ideas. I love traveling. And बाकी फौज ने इतना घुमा दिया ना. Okay. Practically seen all of India and 39 countries.
Travel brings
It's been a wonderful life. Although I never bought a new car, but life was wonderful.
Travel brings a lot of wisdom. I was about to ask, कारवां जिंदगी हसरतों के सिवा कुछ भी नहीं. ये किया नहीं, वो हुआ नहीं, ये मिला नहीं, वो रहा नहीं. Something on your bucket list.
I'm not very sure, but I feel one thing. If you are a satisfied man and you have achieved, probably thinking you have achieved everything, then there is no desire to live for tomorrow. You should always have something still pending, which should encourage you, which should push you, which should, give a little shove to you to get up, move on. So, जिंदगी में मेरे ख्याल से बहुत कुछ नहीं किया, या मेरा सब कुछ है शायद. प्यार बहुत मिला, इज्जत बहुत मिली है, रिस्पेक्ट बहुत मिली है. हो सकता है जो किया नहीं है, ट्रैवलिंग थोड़ी और बाकी है.
That brings me to the next question. When is your next book coming out?
Okay, my next book is on topic I spoke today. And the title of the book, the rough title is Imandari, Wafadari, Zimmedari.
That should be brilliant and worth a copy for everyone.
So it's about same military leadership, civilian relevance in civil life, and how you can be a counted part of a team. जब जिक्र होगा ना, आपका जिक्र आना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
That is where you should be counted.
You answered my last question. What would you want to be remembered as? बात चले तो जनरल ढिल्लन का जिक्र आना चाहिए.
No, people should say, बंदा तो ठीक था यार.
ठीक से कहीं ज़्यादा है सर. Your one last.
Just to this point, yesterday we had gone to the Basar. At least 10 to 12 people recognized. Some took selfies, some shook hands. And one thing, when we are going inside, वहाँ पे भीड़ रहती है. So I was moving, the gentleman standing next to me, he just tapped me on my shoulder. I looked like this, and he said, "Thank you for your services, sir." Well,
brilliant. What more can a person ask from God?
रब ने कहा कि ऐसे रब ने आप आवाज मार के क्या बेटा यो. That is where you feel nice.
Yes.
Blessed.
Blessed.
It's been a blessed life, and wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir, for an absolutely wonderful session.
Thank you.
A big round of applause for sir.
And thank you very much. Never give up. Never ever give up. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am.
Give Mr. and Mrs. Dhillon a standing ovation. Dhillon साहब, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੈਂਟੇਨਰੀ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਵਧਾਇਆ ਨਾ, I have no words to thank you. Thank you so much. And especially, I thank all the members of my core team, members of my governing council, Principal ML Eri ji, Dr. Karnesh ji, Surinder Duggal ji, Suresh Mahajan ji, Madan Lal Arora ji, और हमारे अपने जोशी जी, Madam Neetu Sharma, Madam Vinodta Sankhyan, and all the faculty members who are present here, and all the guests who have taken their time. We are all really thankful. And once again, I really thank Mr. Dhillon.
हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा